All right, in a previous video I showed you how to make a basic calendar, and today we're going to show you how to dress it up and make it more your style. But before we jump into that, I need to address a mistake I made in the last video, and you probably already noticed, but I didn't add any days of the week to my calendar. And I cannot tell you how many times I've done that in real life, like making a calendar to sell or just for myself. I always forget the days of the week, and I have no idea why. But we're going to go over that real quick. We're going to fix that now. So we're just going to do a really basic rendition of this. So I'm going to need to move all of this down. So let me show you an easy way to do this. We already grouped this entire thing, the lines at least, earlier in the previous video, but we did not group these shapes with it. So we're going to group all that now. That'll just make this whole process a lot easier. So you're going to click on the this main shape here. You're going to hold the control button. You're going to click on this one, this one, this one, this one. So now you have everything selected that you want to group together. Then you're going to go up to arrange and you're going to group them. So now if you were to do this, it does it all together for you. It's already grouped together. So now what we're going to do, you know what, let me just, here we go. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to shift this down. Oh, sorry, my little word box keeps getting in my way. We're going to shift this down just a little bit so we have enough room to put our words here. I'm going to keep that up here, just keep it out of the way for right now. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to insert and go to my text box, and we're just going to start one here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the first 3 letters for everything instead of doing the whole word across. And you can do it however you prefer. And then you're going to come up here and center it or not, whatever you want to do. One thing that I like to do is drag this to the perimeter, the edges here of the square underneath, just to help it center exactly to this square. You can make it flush left if you want, but a lot of times you'll see them, they're centered. So we're going to go ahead and leave it like this. One thing I do recommend, especially if you're going to sell this as a printable, is changing the font. They always recommend you use 2 to 3 fonts, but no more. But you always like to have like a script font with something that's a little more plain like this. I know there's a word for it. I should probably get these words down before I do these videos, but so just for the sake of today's video, because we are keeping it pretty simple, I'm just going to leave it with the same font that it is up here. So an easy way to do this is just Control, remember it's Control C to copy, and then Control V, and then I just drag it over, and you see how the red arrows are lining up. They're kind of showing you that you have this exactly the same way as the previous thing you copied. So that's where I want it to go. I want it to line up exactly like that. We'll change the fonts or the words here in just a minute. Right now I'm just going to get you going all the way across. So I just click on this particular square, hold down the control button, push C to copy that one, and V to duplicate it. And then I just drag it over. I do not have to be exact, but because we can kind of go over that later and fix it again, but I prefer to just get it done now. And you just kind of wait till everything lines up and let it go. And this, once you kind of been doing this a while, this actually goes pretty fast. There we go. Okay. Alrighty, so now I can go back over. Now that everything is centered, I can go back through and change this. I'm just going to do my caps lock. Okay, so now this is a proper calendar. So now it looks like it's supposed to look. We're going to make this a little more view where you can see the whole thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you 3 different ways to kind of spice up your calendar. Obviously you can play with it, do all kinds of things with it, but for today's video I just want to kind of make this a little bit more of a simple update for you, because I know a lot of you are just starting out and I don't want to overwhelm you on PowerPoint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to this slide and I'm going to click on it, and you can do this. You can do this one of 2 ways. You can go up to New Slide and you can duplicate a selected slide. So it'll go right there from the next one. Or you can click on this slide and Control, Copy, and V. Okay, so you can do that both ways. The only problem is sometimes when you just do a Control copy, it doesn't always bring all the elements over to the next slide, and I have no idea why, but sometimes it's happened. So if you want to make sure it looks exactly like the one you had before, the New Slide copies it exactly. Just a little tidbit for you. So this is the reason why I'm duplicating this, is because we are going to do 3 different designs, and it's so much easier just start from right here where you are. I want to show you how to just update this, going from where your basic skeleton is and just adding some flesh to it. Okay, so we're going to start with something super basic, and it's just going to change a little bit of the coloring, and that's it. But it really makes this pop. I'll show you what I mean. So the first thing you can do, or I would do in this case, was I would format the background to change the color. The only problem is I'm not a big fan of these colors that they automatically give you. You can change it by doing the hex colors. You can customize your colors, but I'm more of a visual person. I like to actually see it already put together. So let me show you what I did here. So what I would like to do is insert a picture and then take the color from a picture that I like. So what I would do is I would go to my pictures, or my insert tab, pictures, this device, and then I would go ahead and go to, let me see here. Here's my clip art. And then I would go to my indoor house plants, and I really like this. Let's start with this this pink here. Okay, so if I'm going to change the background to this color, then what I would do is I would go over here. You have your format. Sorry, you're going to format your background. So you want to make sure you've clicked on the background, and if you haven't gotten over to that section, right click, format background, and this pops up. You can do a solid fill, a gradient fill. You can kind of see how it gradients the color. You can add a picture or a texture fill, a pattern fill. You can do all kinds of things. We're going to do a solid fill. So I don't want to obviously use blue. So I'm going to show you what I did. I'm going to select the drop down menu, eyedropper, and I'm just going to click on the color. So it automatically changes the color for me, okay? And that's exactly what I want it to look like. So the background's formatted, it's done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a way I really like to make my calendars look like this. And that is we're going to click on this particular shape, and we're going to go up to the shape outline. Now, since all of these shapes are grouped together, this will change the outline of all of the shapes. If you only want to change one particular shape, then you can go up here and ungroup, or you can just select that particular shape that you want to change the outline for. But I want to change the outline for all of these shapes. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that, go up to Shape Outline, drop down menu, and the color that I last used, or most recently used with the eyedropper, is the color that we're using right now. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on that. And so it automatically puts it on here, and you see how it just kind of makes it more of a seamless look. Now I don't like this real thin outline, so I'm going to thicken it up. So I'm going to go back to my outline. I'm going to come on down here, and if you can see, they have an option to change the weight. It right now is at a 1 point. I like to make it look more like a 3-point when I'm doing my calendar. So you see how it just makes it, to me, I don't know, it just makes it look better. So that's what I do. You can do the different weight. You can actually change the how it just looks. That's kind of a cool look if you're just kind of a fun person. Dashes, it can change, you know, all kinds of different things you can do with this. But I like to keep mine regular. So, and somehow it's selected. There we go. We're gonna have to go back over. Let's go back to the weight. And 3. There we go. Okay, so then my last step would be to change the color of my font. So what I would do is I would select my text box. Now if you were, I'll show you what I did here. If you select just the box, it still has a dotted line here, which means that you can work inside of this box, but you are not actually going to select the box to make the changes. So you want to select the dotted line until it's solid. Then you can make the changes of like the font color and things like that. So I'm going to change the font to white, and I'm going to do the same down here. So remember, you're going to want to select the line till it's solid. I'm going to push the control button and just click all the way across. So now I'm going to change all of those. So do you see how that really makes this, just let me get rid of this here. It just, I don't know, it makes that look like a real pretty picture to me. I would make this probably a little bit bigger. I would also most likely make these a little bigger. So I would select these all. And this is obviously to your preference. And you can make these a little bit more bold so they stand out a little bit. So do you see how that just really changes up the look? It's not this harsh black and white calendar anymore. It's something soft and pretty and a little more enticing. I look at this and think, I can't wait to fill this out. But I wouldn't normally feel that way, I guess, on a stark black and white picture. So that's one way. So we're going to go down to our next slide. I'm going to show you another way by inserting something onto this background. So we're going to do a real quick one. This one I like to use. We're going to go back to my desktop, and you can buy digital papers. They're usually, we're just going to grab this one here. They're usually size 10 by 10. So if you're going to use this as a background, that you're going to need to make this shape. You're going to crop this a little bit. So all I do is I upload it and I just drag the little corner down to where it fits my page. And you can see that it kind of, it makes it more transparent so you can see how far you need to go. And when you get it to the bottom of the page, you're still going to have some overhang on this right hand side. So all you do is you go up to crop, and I just slide it over, and you can kind of see where the page is. You see how there, you can kind of tell. Go to the edge and click out of it, and it's done. Now I'm going to take this, since it's my wallpaper or my background, and I'm going to put it into the back. Remember in the previous video we talked about layers, so this is going to be the bottom layer. So I'm going to go up to arrange, and there are options of bringing this layer to the front, sending it all the way to the back, bringing it forward just once or twice if you just want to go raise it up just above a certain amount of elements instead of all of them. Same thing for backward, so I'll show you. So if I send this backwards, it would just do it one at a time. It would do this. You keep just going until you find where you want it to stop. Well, I want it to go all the way to the back, so I'm going to send it straight to the back. So now it is my background here, and then you can leave it just like this. And this literally is a super quick way to just make it fresh and colorful and fun. You can change the font colors. You can do, the sky's the limit here, but this is just a super quick way to kind of make this more unique, more your style, whatever you want to go there. I love white. White is my favorite color, so I would probably change all of this to white. I don't, and I would probably make these bold as well. see here. We're going to bold this and make this just a little bigger. So, you know, I mean, you play with it, just kind of see what you want to do with it. But I love how these can turn out. I mean, you can just make them so pretty and so unique. And then obviously you would want to change this here. I probably wouldn't keep it black. We could do it like this. We could do the eyedropper. And since we already have the colors pulled up, I would maybe go with the blue. And you see, now it's just a really pretty calendar. And I think anybody would see this and think, wow, that's really nice. But it's, you know, it's whatever you want it to make it as. Or you can sell it this way. I mean, there's so many fun things you can do with printables. I love them. I think you can kind of get that from some of my videos, but I'm going to show you one more way. This is my favorite way to decorate or spruce up a calendar, and that's to add clip art. So I'm going to go back to my clip art. We already pulled the clip art that I was going to show you, the houseplants. This is one of my favorite clip art. It's gorgeous. I love it. I got it from an Etsy seller. Super talented. So what I like to do is I like to take a bundle of clip art. Usually they come in a dozen or so clip arts, and then I'll take the whole amount and I just insert the whole thing onto my page. And then what I do is I kind of visualize what I want to work with. So instead of going back and forth and selecting all the different pictures one at a time and trying them, I just get them all out here. I just shrink them down. I get them all out here. Let me close this. And then I just kind of break them up. I just spread them out. That way I can kind of see what I have to work with. And we're really only going to use one. But I just kind of want to show you, this is a little bit of my process. And this really just kind of helps me visualize which one works best and which one I want to go with. So you can make these a lot smaller so they kind of not overlapping each other like this. But all right, so what I'm going to do for this one is kind of different. So I'm going to make this a transparent background, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to take something like this, so you can kind of use, it has a lot of color in it, so it can kind of give you a really good idea. And I'm going to make it the same size as my paper. We're going to go a little bigger. Okay, so you see how this fills my paper. I'm going to center it using my grid line here until it turns red. And obviously you can't use this as a calendar when it looks like this, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to shrink these down so they're just not in the way here. I feel a little bit crowded. Whoop. See what I mean by using my backspace all the time? I'm always grabbing things I'm not supposed to be, or not meaning to move or shift. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab these two, and I don't know if I duplicated some of these on accident. Okay, so now we just got these moved over. All right, I feel a little less overwhelmed. So obviously you cannot use this calendar as you know, with this big huge plant in front of it. So I'm going to show you a really neat trick. When you're clicked on the plant, you're going to right click on there and you can format your picture. Okay, so it pops up the side here, it gives you some options. You can format the line of this picture. You can format the shadows. I'm not going to go through all of this right now. We can do it in another video. You can resize it, but we're just going to work with the transparency. So we're going to go to picture transparency, and I'm going to put this down to about 50%, okay, about that. And so I'm going to, now that that looks like that, I'm going to arrange this and I'm going to send it to the back. Okay, now I don't want to leave it to the point where this is all you see. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this shape and we are going to make this also see-through. Do you remember how we talked about layers? And what you can do with your shape fill is you can make it a no fill. Okay, so it was white before. Well, now we're going to do a no fill. So now, let's see. So now it's see-through. Now, one thing that you can do is you can make all of this see-through, or let's see here. Okay. Or what we can do is we can take, we're going to ungroup this here for just a second. I just want to show you something that you can do. So now you're going to just take, this does not want to work with me today. We're going to X out of this here. Okay. Let's see here. Let's send this back. Make sure that's sent back. Okay. Here we go. So now I'm going to select just these boxes here. Sometimes you have to click around to make sure that it reads which box they want you to do. Okay, so these are only the ones that are selected. This is all I want to work with, okay? And I'm going to go back up to arrange, shape fill, and I'm going to make these white. So that's one way to do it. So now you're not looking at a totally transparent or see-through shapes here. You have some that are white. That kind of, I like that look. I feel like it's not as busy as what it would have been. So that's something that you can try. This is just a really cool little design thing that's just super simple. If you don't want to go with that, then you can just add, let me show you. Let's get rid of this. So you can just take little plants and you can just pop them around your design here. So let's see, we can just pop this right in here. So you can just, these are hanging plants. So we could put a couple of these up here on either side of where I'm going to duplicate this and just, I mean, you can do something like that. You can even, this is fun, I like to add little tiny things up in the actual corners of the days. I mean, you could just make it fun. I love clip art. It's so much fun to work with. So those are just some real easy, real basic techniques that you can use to make this more your own. I'll show you more different ways to make a calendar in another video, but I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of how this works. And you can just duplicate your slides over and over again and just play around with all of them. Play around with the different ways to make this work. I think it's a lot of fun. And one more reminder, save your work. Save it. You're going to go up here to File, Save As, Browse, wherever you want it to go. You're going to name it. You're going to choose your file, and you're going to save it as a PowerPoint presentation. Then when you're done saving it as a PowerPoint presentation, you're going to go back in, save it all again, and then you can change it to whatever, PDF, JPEG, whatever you want to save it to. But always, always, always save it as a PowerPoint presentation, because once you've clicked out of it, it doesn't save it. Sometimes you can find it here in your latest work, but not always. And I've lost some really good work that I put into things because I forgot to save it first. So that's just my reminder. I hope this was helpful. I hope you were able to get some cool ideas, and I will see you in the next video.